All right, it is 6:30. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everyone to the 2025 Political Forum. My name is Leslie Horney. I am the president of the Houston Women's Civic Club. We are especially pleased that all of our candidates for Houston City election agreed to be with us. Houston City Civic Club has been sponsoring this event so many years that we don't even remember where we began. The key to the forum's success has always been the candidates for office. So candidates, a special thank you to all of you for being here. Of course, this event could not happen without the support of the City of Houston personnel. A special thanks to City Manager Jennifer Harrison and all the employees who she enlisted to help for publicizing the forum and for setting up the room, providing microphones and assuring that tonight's event will be live streamed. We would like to thank Steve Witry, who has served as an advisor and a consultant for us this year, bringing fresh new ideas and securing the moderator for this evening's event. Our moderator is Kaylee Martin. Kaylee has lived in Houston since 2012, but she lives in unincorporated Houston, therefore she is ineligible to vote in this election and serves tonight as a complete neutral as to campaign as a she's neutral. We feel that she shares with Houston Women's Civic Club, many of whose members also live outside the city limits, the goal of the club's purpose statement, which is to promote city improvement for the city of Houston and the surrounding area. Kaylee is a 2025 graduate of Leadership Jackson with a great interest, as all Leadership Jackson graduates have, in the well-being of the county and all people who call Jackson County and any of its cities their home. Kaylee is the manager of the Cardiac Cath Lab at Northeast Georgia Medical Center in Brazelton and played a key role in opening the cath labs for the campus. Kaylee and her husband are active members of the church. The two have been married for 13 years and they have a 12-year-old son. Thank you for serving as the moderator tonight for tonight's forum.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 2025 Houston Candidate Forum, where the microphones are hot, the questions are thoughtful, and the drama is strictly off the table. I'm your moderator tonight, and while I won't be running for office, I do promise to keep things running on time and on track. I'm known at the hospital for running a very tight ship. First, a big thank you to our candidates for being brave enough to sit under bright lights and answer tough questions in only 2 minutes and no lifelines. Thank you to our audience. Your presence shows you care about our city's future. And let's be honest, you could have been at home watching Netflix, but you chose to be here tonight instead. A heartfelt thank you to the Houston Women's Civic Club for hosting this event. They've worked hard to make this forum happen, and they've even given me a script. So if I go rogue, it's all of their fault. The purpose of the event tonight, it is not a debate. There is no rebuttals, no interruptions, and absolutely no throw-in shade. Tonight is about hearing from our candidates what they believe and what they envision and how they plan to serve Houston. Let's get to the ground rules because every forum needs a few. Civility and professionalism are paramount. If you feel the urge to shout, cheer, or boo, I will kick you out just like I kick doctors out of my lab. We are not at a football game and nobody's doing any touchdown dances. Candidates, same goes for you. No audible reactions to each other's answers. We're here to listen, not to litigate. Time limits will be strictly enforced. As I told you, I run a very tight ship and I have a very early bedtime. We have a timekeeper armed with yellow and red cards. Yellow means 30 more seconds, so let's wrap it up. And red means mic drop. Here's how tonight will work. Think of it as a civic game show, but no prize. Each candidate will get 1 minute to introduce themselves, and we will be going in alphabetical order. Each candidate will draw 3 questions at random from a set of numbered cards. They'll have 2 minutes to answer each question. No peeking at the cards ahead of time. We've got spotters watching for sneaky hands. After all of the candidates have answered their 3 questions, our 2 mayor candidates will each answer an additional pre-selected question. If the city agrees, the building will stay open until around 9 or 9:30 for informal chats with the candidates who choose to stay. Are we all clear on the procedures? Candidates, please nod yes or blink twice if you're extremely nervous like me. First, we will start with our introductions. Each candidate has 1 minute, so Mr. Aceveda, if you will start us off.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you to the Civics Club for hosting this event. So my name is Ace Acevedo. Only my mother calls me Edwin, which is my given name. I served 23 years in the Army. I served as a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division. I have been with my wife 52 years. We have 2 daughters, one that lives in Kennesaw and one that lives in Las Vegas. After I retired from the Army, I moved to Marietta, where I went to work for Lockheed Martin. I spent 25 years there. And then as I retired from Lockheed Martin, I did move to the city. I have an undergraduate degree from St. Leo University in Florida, and I have a master's degree from Long Island University in New York. I own a home here in town. I currently serve as the president of the Veterans Club in our neighborhood, and I am chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission for the city. Thank you.
Much. Ms. Spence?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for the Houston's Women's Civic Club for having us here tonight, and for everyone in the audience. If I haven't had the honor and privilege of meeting you yet, my name is Maria Benz. My husband, Nick, and I live in Houston with our son, Theo, and we absolutely love being a part of the community. I decided to run for city council because I saw a need that we needed representation for the young families in our community and the working parents who are quickly shaping Houston's future. So I think what makes me a strong candidate, aside from representing the family voice, is my deep community involvement and my professional background. So I've been volunteering in the city since 2022. Some key moments was I was on the DDA board and got to co-lead the Houston Farmers Market. So that really gave me an insight into the city of opportunities and challenges that we have. And on the professional career, I've spent almost a decade now in marketing, and half of that has been in leadership. So I've learned a lot through managing complex projects, working with a diverse group of people, big budget, all these different skill sets that I think would be valuable to City Council. Thank you.
Yes, 1 minute. Mr. Brown?
Good evening, and thank you. My name is David Brown, and I'm currently running for one of the 3 seats for your council. I've been honored for the last year and a half to serve you as a council member. The current jobs that I have on council today are your infrastructure, which mainly are your roads, your sewer, and your water. In Houston right now, when you're going to the election box, we're currently in a situation where we're a growing city, and we're looking at strong places that we need to be. One of the areas that is definitely needed here is engineering. The other area is revenue. Based upon that, with my engineering background at Purdue University and 45 years worth of experience in owning a corporation, I humbly ask for your support to finish what we've started in this endeavor and make the city the best city it can be. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Lawson?
Thank you very much. Glad to see everybody out. Glad to see the rain, so we need that. My name is James Lawson. I've been in the community for over 17 years. My wife and I moved here just like you folks did, a small town, love it, have our business here. We have a small business, Lawson Funeral Home, right down the street here. Been active in the community with zoning and planning, and now with the city council. We got a lot of things we got involved in with our infrastructure, with the water towers, things that previous administrations have put forth the effort to get taken care of. We got to see these things through. So to make our city a lot more presentable as far as to attract more people, more businesses, that's things that we'd like to see happening in our community. So love to be here.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Martin?
Good evening. My name is Debbie Martin, and I'm running for re-election of mayor. I have lived in the city of Houston since 2020. I am a single mom. He's grown now. In fact, he's married, and he has 5 children. So he's a very active young man. They live in the city of Jefferson, so thankfully I get to see them often. In fact, if you've read anything about me, you might have read that I'm that mom that sits in the bleachers that you probably all talk about afterwards, after each game or sporting event. Anyway, we do have a lot of things left to do here in the city. We've talked about water and sewer and infrastructure. Land planning is a big thing of mine. When I first joined council in 2023, I was assigned economic development, and I still love doing that, and will continue to do that until we can actually hire somebody to do that. Thank you for your time. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. Mr. McGowan?
Hello, everybody. I'm Gary McGowan. I am a resident of Houston for about 8 years now. I presently live with Councilwoman Tina Brown. I just wanted to get that out there now since it's been a topic of discussion. So she is my partner. I became involved in politics down in Houston because of the dysfunction of what was happening to our city. The growth was a little bit disjointed. I really wanted to run because I saw a need for, I guess, different opinions that could be helpful and direct this city in the right way. I hope I can get your vote. I hope I can show you tonight what we can do for the city of Houston. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sell?
Good evening. It's great to see everybody out tonight. I'm Shannon Sale. I know most of the people in the room.
No, sorry.
Am I starting over, or you already am I on the clock?
Go ahead. You can start over.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Shannon Sale, lifelong resident of Houston. It's home, been home to my family for close to 2 centuries. A lot of history here. Very proud to call Houston my home. I grew up here, again, Jackson County, local high school, business degree from North Georgia College out of Dahlonega. I've held all kind of positions throughout the city, throughout the county, airport authority, chairman for, I don't know, probably 10 years, not too long ago. It's hard to get to know somebody here in the few minutes we're going to get to speak tonight. She's already flagging me with time. This Sunday afternoon at my farm over here across the street from the school, 2 to 4 p.m. on Sunday, having a meet and greet. come out there and meet me and talk to me. You're not going to get what all you want to get tonight. It's going to be more questions than answers. It's just too many people and too brief. Glad to be here. Thank the Women's Club for doing it, but come see me Sunday 2 to 4. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Sterling?
Yes. Last but not least, my name, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. My name is Fredria Sterling. I am from the great state of Texas. I've been married for 53 years. I lost my husband this year in February. We have 4 daughters, 1 son, and I have 15 grandchildren. I'm a retired educator of 37 years. I taught in Texas and in Georgia. The thing that I do on the city council is the mayor's reading program. Mayor Martin has given each one of us different areas, and the area that I chose was the community, because I believe the children are our future, and she gave me the mayor's reading program, and I've been running with it ever since, and I love it. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to the elementary school and meet a child that I'm going to be a mentor to. So thank you, Houston Women's Civic Club, for having this forum.
Thank you so much. Okay, now we will go ahead and disperse the number cards. These correspond to the questions, and please do not open them until it's your turn. Miss Sterling, you can turn your mic off. You can turn your mic off. Thank you. Okay, first up, Mr. Acevedo, if you will draw your number, please. I have my glasses on, so hold it up nice and high so I can see it. Question number 2.
Question number 2.
I'll read the question and then we can start the timer. Parks, a sense of place and growth. What does the term parks include in your mind as the term relates to Houston's future development? It could be ball fields, walking trails, open spaces for festivals or for picnics and concerts. In the recent past, there seems to have been a little attention paid to the needs of our youth for indoor or outdoor recreational space. Why do you think that is? If elected, how do you propose to address the needs of all of our residents and our youth, in particular for community space? You can start the timer.
Thank you. So we need to move forward with the parks. We want to make the city a loving place for families to come, grow, and gather. And so it's essential that we develop the parks that we have and take advantage of land that's been donated or acquired by the city. This also means that we need to make sure that it's ADA accessible for those adults and children that have challenges or mobility issues. And we need to make sure that the playground equipment that we acquire is also accommodating to them as well. Now, as developers come in for whatever reason, either residential or commercial building, we need to take advantage of them and have them offset some of those costs for parks and green spaces. And so when the developer comes in there and wants a building, I'm going to ask them to give us 20% of green space and have them develop it. And it's useful green space, not strips of land in between parking hedges, but stuff that we can gather and develop community centers, amphitheaters, a place that we can gather and have festivals, do movie nights outside. And so we want to make sure that we do this in a very structural way so we don't overburden our taxpayers with costs. It should be a thought-out plan, and we need to fund it as we can and keep the kids and the adults in the city in mind as we do this.
Perfect. Thank you. Ms. Benz, if you'll draw your number, please.
Number 4.
Growth within the city has been significant. Citizens have expressed concern that the interests of developers sometimes seem to be more important than the interests of citizens. If elected, what actions will you take to ensure that citizens' voices will be heard and their opinions concerned? You can start the timer.
So I have a few different points I would like to make on this one. So I think sometimes, depending on what the decision is, sometimes it's not necessarily about what decisions are being made, but how we communicate those decisions to the public. I love that we started live streaming our council meetings. That gives people accessibility to see what's going on in our town. But as we've been doing meet and greets throughout the last couple of months, especially meeting different people, I've realized that some people might not necessarily have the time to come out, and then sometimes they might not have the full context of what's going on at a city council meeting. So say if they came to one today, but they weren't, at some city council meetings a few months prior, they might not know exactly what's going on. So something that I would love to look at, because what I did notice in the last few months especially, is people do come out to their neighborhoods. They do chat with their friends. They chat with people they trust, and they have real conversations what's happening, and they care, but maybe not everyone feels comfortable speaking up at City Hall or, coming out. So a few different things I was researching, what do other cities do across the United States to kind of get their residents more involved. So some things that people do are either host neighborhood workshops before major projects. They'll have somebody come out as an ambassador, talk about the project, and or they even have neighborhood advisory boards where they might have an ambassador from each community, and they can share updates to their neighborhood and then bring feedback back to council. So I think that when citizens are part of the conversation early, we can make smarter, more balanced decisions, and I would love to explore different areas how we can make that happen.
Thank you. Mr. Brown?
Let's see, which one do I want? 6 or 9? 6 or 9, let's see. I don't know what this is. It's a 6 or a 9.
We'll go with 6.
Okay.
I'll pick. What are the top 3 issues and or opportunities impacting citizens of Houston that you believe the citizens want to see addressed? You can go ahead and start the timer.
Thank you. The top 3, I think, are very clearly leadership, taxes, and infrastructure. Not necessarily in that order, but I think they're the 3 questions that all taxpayers and council and leaders have in mind. When you look at leadership, anytime you're allowing us to make your choices, I honestly believe that you have to look at who your leaders really are and where they come from. So I ask you to ask yourself before you go vote for me or any one of us, what do you know about me? Do you know my history? Do you know my background? Do you know what I stand for? Do you know what I've done? Because I'm going to be making some of the most critical choices that affect your life day to day. When you look at your local leaders, they affect you more than your federal leaders on a day-to-day basis. We choose what restaurant you're going to eat at. When you get up in the morning and flush your toilet, is it going to work? When you fix your coffee, do you have the water? So they're very important that we know what we're talking about. When you look at Texas, we're the ones that kind of control your millage in a way. And what I mean by that is what we spend and how we spend it will affect where the millage is. When I first moved here, we had a 0 millage. We're now at, I think, our accountants out there, I think we're about 2.714. And when you look at our expenses that are coming up, there's a real opportunity for our millage to go up, not down. So we've got to be very cognizant of where we're going there. Infrastructure, that's my pet peeve, and I got 30 seconds. Our infrastructure is lacking severely. We need to increase 4 times what our current sewer capacity is, and our water, we need to increase about 7 times. All that is in play. I don't want to send any fear out there. And come around 2030, our sewer will be up to at least 2 million gallons a day versus 500,000. Our water will be up to about 750,000 plus 500. And our streets, we put the budget in for next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lawson? Okay, growth within the city. We've already heard this one. Has been significant. Citizens have expressed concern that the interests of the developers sometimes seem to be more important than the interests of the citizen. If elected, what actions will you take to ensure the citizens' voices will be heard and their opinions considered?
Very good.
You can start the timer.
Thank you. Some of the things we already have in place is what we call impact fees. That means the developers, when they come into our community, they're paid certain impact fees that goes toward our police department. We do not have a fire department. We do have parks. And some of that money goes toward those things that help offset our cost of having to pay for them. So therefore, the developer pays for that every time they build a house or they're issued a permit in the city limits of Houston. Also, along with the tap fees, which is the sewer and the water, which basically places a burden on our infrastructure with our sewer plant and our water, things like that. Ultimately, some of our developers should be held accountable, especially like some of the ones that's already come into town, and we've kind of held their feet to the fire to saying, hey, we would like a traffic light here, maybe a stop sign there, or something to where it benefits us as a whole as the citizens. Traffic is a huge problem. Everybody knows about traffic. Raise your hand. Good. There again, the highway out here is DOT, Highway 53. It's a state highway. We can only basically function off what comes off of that highway as far as in our city. And the mayor right now is in place to have several meetings with DOT through a mobility study to see what we can do to help our area, our town, deal with the traffic that everybody gets when they go to the post office or where they go to the Citgo station here or even down there at Kroger now. So those are the things that we're dealing with on a daily basis that we hear from our citizens. And we try to make things easier for us and easier for you. And that's the whole goal with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Martin? Mr. Lawson, will you turn your mic off?
Number 3.
Houston has a strong historical legacy. What structures and or properties do you believe citizens consider to be important to preserve and to incorporate into the community's ongoing development plans?
Thank you for the question. I'm really glad that I got this one. Actually, any of them I'm really happy to get.
You can start the timer.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Do
Go
I
ahead.
have to start over?
No, you're good.
It won't take 2 minutes. That I promise. So Houston's history is super important to many of those who have been here a long time. I'm not one of those. I've only been here 5 years. But what I do know is the people that do know the history are willing to share the history. We just need to ask. And I also want to mention that we have an historic committee that meets in this room every month, that if you want to know our history, that you should try to attend those. We do, it's a Historic Preservation Committee is the name of it. Landmarks. We do have landmarks. In my opinion, we have landmarks. The only one that's marked right now is the Allen Clinic down the road here. But the depot is one, and in my opinion, Larry's Garage is one. And I would personally like to see that renovated and not taken down. Regarding the Allen Clinic, which is the beautiful home that sits at 53 and Peachtree. Here's a couple of facts that maybe you didn't know. Again, that's the only landmark in our city that's got a landmark plate on it. And second of all, the owners of that landmark are going to be donating that building and property to the city of Houston. So, yes, you can clap. That's exciting news. Oh, you said no clapping. Sorry. She's going to kick me out now. Anyway, that's all I have regarding historic value and interest in the city.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Mr. McGowan? The city's leadership relationships with other city governments, with county government, and with other county organizations are a part of city governance. What relationships do you feel are important to establish and to maintain with the goal of achieving best outcomes? How will you leverage those relationships and work with others? You can start the timer.
Well, of course, every government, we need to have a great relationship, especially with our county. Jackson County will help us in everything we do. If we do things that are against what they're looking to do, it's going to cost all of us. An example would be building. So Jackson County is trying to limit some of the building because they can't catch up to the water, to the sewer. They have, and then eventually it costs all of us money because our taxes are county taxes also, besides the city tax. So definitely our relationship with Jackson County is imperative. Also, any city that borders us. I mean, Brazelton's right next door. I think we can learn a lot from the city of Brazelton. They have grown. They have gone through the growing pains. So we could tap into their expertise. We could have meetings with that council, not on a regular basis, but at least, several meetings throughout a year. We have, I think, a water agreement right now with Jackson. I think we need more water, and we've reached out to Barrow. They get the water from the same place. I know with Barrow we have conditions that are going to impact us. Those conditions will impact our sewer, which I believe we should have gone with Jackson County on our water. These are the things that all of us are going to pay for sooner or later down the road. So in the end, relationships are really important. We have to live in this county. We have to deal with this county. Let's have a working relationship with the commissioners because they will impact us in ways that are only going to be helpful.
Perfect. Thank you. Mr. Sell? Number 3, again. Houston has a strong historical legacy. What structures and/or properties do you believe citizens consider to be important to preserve and to incorporate into the community's ongoing development plan? Will you turn your mic on, please? You're welcome. And you can start the timer.
Okay. Well, historical landmarks. Again, I grew up here and I've watched these. Of course, a lot of these landmarks predate me. When I think of landmarks here in Houston, the depot is probably number one. Y'all call it the Allen Clinic. We call it the old hospital up here at Peachtree Road in 53. My dad was actually born there. And Dr. Allen's house is the old house here off this corner back here. To me, that's a kind of a historic landmark. Where City Hall used to be, right down the street, that we call that Thompson's. That was the hatchery for the chickens. It's kind of historic to me. Larry's Garage. Y'all call it Larry's. I remember when Houston Auto Parts was there. I can remember dozens of different businesses there over the years. All these are important. What we've got the Darby House across the street where the coffee shop is. I see the pictures on these walls. I've got the old post office boxes out of the post office that was right next door in my old office here next to TSG Outdoors. They're really cool. Sometimes stop in there and take a look at them. So all of this stuff's pretty, and I'd like to keep it safe to some extent. But what are we willing to pay? Because rehabbing, maintaining old properties, it's expensive. And the money doesn't fall out of the sky. If it's going to be done, we have to pay for it. So these were the ones that I pick out. I'd say you got to have community input to know, like, okay, which one's important or any of them important, because most of y'all are brand new here. Some of this stuff may not mean anything to you. And there's less of me, long-timers, than there are of you. So, but we all have to pay for it. So we've got to keep that in mind.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Dr. Sterling, will you turn your mic off, please, Mr. Self? Thank you.
All right. Number 10.
Number 10. It is realistic to expect that a team comprised of mayor and city and council members will have different perspectives on matters before them. Describe your personal style for bridging differences and reaching consensus on actions to be taken. You can start the timer.
All right. All right. My personal style for bridging differences is to listen. I think each and every person needs to have a voice. They need to share their perspective of whatever the discussion is. And I feel like that we do that on the council. Although we do have people that have different, attitudes about different things, say the park, for instance, a lot of us are for the park, and there are many other things that we discuss, and I think sometimes we don't always look at the long-term, effect of what we're discussing. Like we have a comprehensive plan. Anybody knows you can make a plan, but as you move down the road dealing with that plan, you're going to have to, make some changes somewhere along the way. And so I think that each and every person needs to keep that in mind, that change is going to come, and together we have to blend together and do what's best for the city.
Perfect. Thank you. Will you turn your mic off for me? And then Mr. Acevedo. Kenneth, we finished the first round. I think we're doing good.
I have question number 9.
Number 9. What is your position on voting by districts in future city elections to ensure against a prominent voice that would perhaps favor one section of the city over another on issues that do in fact affect all citizens, no matter whether they are in the city limits they reside?
So thank you for that question. At this time, I would tell you I'm not in favor of districting, and the reasons are several. When you look across the United States, most communities do not start to look at districting till you get to a population of about 10,000. And once they start looking at it, it's a process, and most of the time they don't implement it till they hit the population of 50,000. So we're way away from that. The risk with, not the risk, but the challenges with districting is how are you going to do it? Are you going to do it by population? You're going to do it by land mass? Are you going to allow for expansion of the city limits? And there are costs also associated with that, administrative costs. Now you're going to have to, just for simple things like voting, and it's not a free thing just to get, districts put onto the election ballots. There's costs associated with that. And you have to, in the council itself, as I understand it, we can't just say, yep, we're going to go to districting. It's got to be taken to the state. It's got to be approved and implemented. So when we get to 10,000, maybe we look at it, but wait to 50,000 before we implement. And how are we going to do it? And I just don't think we're there yet. I think the city is represented well in the current voting, how it happens. And if I go back, and again, I'm not a longtime resident, but the last 3 years that I've been here, and I've come to a large portion of city work or city council work sessions, I can't really ever remember anything that came in front of the council that favored one part of the city over the other. I think the council has done a relatively good job of representing all the citizens of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Benz?
I got question 7.
Number 7. There are checks and balances in place to manage development, but it seems that often, once a project receives approval, developers come back to the council for variances to what was originally approved. In your opinion, should this be an acceptable practice, or if a variance is desired, should the process start from the beginning with the planning commission? Explain your answer, please. You can start the timer.
Thank you. So I did some research because I've heard this question come up here and there, And I found that this situation actually happens in a lot of cities across the United States. So oftentimes developers may come back for different reasons like market changes, construction costs, or maybe issues that come up during permitting. And most cities handle it by either minor changes or major ones. As I understand, I believe Houston might be in a similar way that they work. So minor adjustments, if it's small design tweaks, usually can be approved by city staff. I think that makes sense. If it's major zoning changes, I think that it should go through a public process. If it lands maybe somewhere in the middle, maybe we'll go to planning and zoning. But I think if we don't have already, just having a clear set of rules of how we would decide that. But something that I think we can look at is if a developer is coming back and asking us for something major, I think that is an opportunity for us. If it's legally supported and it makes sense, I think that the city can also ask for an additional contribution, right? So if developers asking for something, we can also ask for either they can contribute to sidewalks or streetlights or landscaping or different beautification projects. So that way, if a developer benefits from changing their plans, the city can benefit too. And then that way we can also progress on certain things a little bit faster because we all know sometimes government takes a little bit slow. So that way, instead of waiting for years for certain projects to be done, maybe we can work together to get that done. So I believe, yes, maybe depending on what variances, we can kind of go through a certain pattern.
Thank you. Mr. Brown?
Need your fingernails. We'll get there, folks. Number 2.
Number 2, parks, a sense of place and growth. What does the term parks include in your mind as the term relates to Houston's future development? It could be ball fields, walk-in trails, open spaces for festivals, or for picnics and concerts. In the recent past, there seems to have been a little attention paid to the needs of our youth for indoor or outdoor recreational space. Why do you think that is? If elected, how do you propose to address the needs of all of our residents and our youth in particular for community space? You may start the timer.
Thank you. I'm going to have to talk quick on this one. When you look at the definition of a park, and I'm just going to read this to you, I found it interesting. It says it's an area of land usually in a large natural state for the enjoyment of the public, having facilities for the rest and recreation, often owned, set apart, and managed by a city, state, or nation. When you ask me about Houston and parks, my first thing is where. And I don't mean that with any disrespect whatsoever. When you look at our past, we didn't really develop our parks and so forth. Our city past leaders were so diligently working on building our cities, working with developers, and in some cases, even building our leadership. So we have a unique opportunity right now. We have a blank canvas that we together can create this park. The other day, we did something I thought was one major step forward in that. We did our budget. And in our budget, we put $750,000 towards a park for next year. There's a $500,000 grant that we have right now. We are not qualifying for the grant. We actually have the grant. And we have 4.73 acres that are just catty corner to us back here by where a lot of people park in the garage. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for us not just to take the current parks and work around them, but we can do something very unique. We can actually together build a legacy, build what the citizens want, and go forward with that. So with that, I'm just asking for the city and mayor, future mayor and council to work together towards this $500,000 grant, towards the 4.73 acres, and towards the $750,000 that we spend it wisely and develop what the city wants. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Will you turn your mic off, please, Mr. Brown? Mr. Lawson?
Number 2.
Number 2, same exact question. What does the term parks include in your mind as the term relates to Houston's future development? It could be ball fields, walking trails, open spaces for festivals, or picnics and concerts. In the recent past, there seems to have been a little attention paid to the needs of our youth for indoor-outdoor recreational space. Why do you think that is? If elected, how do you propose to address the needs of all of our residents and our youth in particular, community space? You may start the timer.
Very good. I think we have a wonderful relationship with Jackson County Parks and Rec that handles the soccer field here. I see a lot of people out with their kids at the park and do the walking track around the soccer field. We also have the baseball diamonds at the end of Cabin Drive, Broad Street. That's utilized. They used to do the tournaments, which brought a lot of people to our town and to our businesses. So that's very vital for us. They just redone the basketball court, the tennis courts there, all in one. So I think with partnership with Jackson County, maybe to do something indoor, maybe a gymnasium type building, have indoor things for the youth is good. But ultimately it comes with an expense. Therefore, going back to our impact fees, that helps us with our parks. Some of the money goes from the impact fees to our parks, and that's a great thing for us. That way the citizens ourselves are not completed with that whole burden, because there's no way that we could afford that and, $10 or $15 million every year to do something with Parks and Rec. Fortunately, we did get a grant, and the grant's good, but it'll only take you so far. At the end of the day, we're going to have to come up with some money regardless of what we put on any type of property. And there again, that's the reason we went back to hiring a land planner to help us facilitate where is the best part to place the park. And that's what we needed to have in place to help us make these decisions. I'm not a plan planner. Couldn't tell you where the best place for a park to be. But that's the reason we hire people that do this, and that helps us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Will you turn your mic off, please?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Ms. Martin? If you get question 2, I'm not rereading it. Did you get question 2? Okay. Question 4. Growth within the city has been significant. Citizens have expressed concern that the interests of developers sometimes seem to be more important than the interests of citizens. If elected, what actions will you take to ensure that citizens' voices will be heard and their opinions considered? Will you turn your mic on, please?
Mine's on.
It's up.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. You can start the timer.
I am going to read because I wrote a lot of comments regarding this question, so I apologize if you feel like I'm not speaking freely. I just want you to get all my thoughts. I want you to hear all my thoughts. So Hushin's growth has always, in my opinion, reflected what the citizens need and want, and those are really two important different things. I know people worry about developers sometimes have more influence over citizens, and it is simply not true with this mayor and the current council. But I do understand the concern because it does come up often. And I also take that seriously. So if there is that thinking that we take developers' concerns over your concerns, I would like to have conversations with you about that. This is one of the reasons that I brought back planning and zoning. This gives the citizens so many possibilities to come to the planning and zoning before it even gets to council, us to hear about it, and then also the week after to even vote on it. So one more thing that I'd like to make note of. I feel like we're still recovering from previous decisions that have been made prior to us being sworn in. As you've seen, as the mayor, I am allowing more time for citizen input. I don't know if you know this. It used to be 2 minutes, then it went to 3 minutes, and now it's 5 minutes. Okay, I got 30 seconds, so I'll finish all my thoughts here. Our job is to provide services to you, not to the developer. And I want you to hear that loud and clear from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. McGowan? Question 10. Will you please turn your mic on while I read the question? It is realistic to expect that a team comprised of mayor and council members will have different perspectives on matters before them. Describe your personal style for bridging differences and reaching consensus on actions to be taken. You may start the timer.
I think everybody should have an opinion. I think both positive and negative. We learn from the negatives. So the way I like to discuss things is to open it up where everybody has that pet project they want, some decisions that they want to make, and then we can discuss it. I mean, the negatives are important. We all need to hear the negatives. On a council, hopefully there's going to be 7 different opinions, and then after those opinions are discussed, we find the positives and we also find the negatives. Without negatives, we're going to head in a direction that's not good. It's going to be bad because we have to discuss what we're going to be up against. So the way I bridge that is I like to. I'm a talker. I like to discuss things with whoever we're having a meeting with. Hopefully, I could be on this council. But I believe that we desperately need not a groupthink. I think in the past there has been members of the council who were friends, who were just yes votes. They had no dissension at all. I think it's happening today. I don't think there's enough of I don't know. I guess dissension is the word I'll use again. We need people to say, hey, wait a second. We need to think of this. We need to think of this. And we need to think of this. If we don't, then all of you are going to be affected. You're going to have a council that all thinks the same. And they only need 4 votes to pass something. So if the other 3 are not being heard, then all of you are going to suffer. So 4 council members is all it takes to get something passed. We need people who are going to explore and challenge what the remaining council have. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Sell? Question 10. Again, I'll reread it this time. It is realistic to expect that a team comprised of mayor and council members will have different perspectives on matters before them. Describe your personal style for bridging differences and reaching consensus on actions to be taken. You may start the timer.
So I have firsthand experience with this. A few years ago, I was interim mayor for about 18 months. Brand new council. I tell people I'm a leader. I've been self-employed, managed businesses, always been the boss, chairman of committees. I'm good at bringing people together. And I start off with, first of all, you got to be honest with them. Tell them the truth. You don't withhold facts. You tell them 100%, not 99% of what's going on. You got to tell them the truth. You got to build that relationship with the council members, with your team members, with the staff. And in doing that, I had one council member, now he was a challenge. But most of the time I had him on board. We did some great things. I wrote here information, give them the full information, be honest with them. And I guess one good point too is you're not going to agree on everything, but what do you agree on? Because you'll probably agree on something. Start there and build on that. It's distracting. As our city grows the next few years, the decisions that we make, I can remember 10, 20 years ago, we dealt with pennies here. The decisions that this body makes now are multi-million-dollar impacts to all of our lives. And I would just say, honesty, I think, is the best thing here.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Sterling? Mr. Sell, will you turn your mic off, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Number 4.
Number 4, growth within the city has been significant. Citizens have expressed concern that the interests of developers sometimes seem to be more important than the interests of citizens. If elected, what actions will you take to ensure that citizens' voices will be heard and their opinions considered? You may start the timer.
Okay. All right. If elected, my opinion is that the citizens' voices need to be heard, and I feel like that the council does that in the surveys that the mayor sends out, for people to, for instance, like what businesses do you want to come to Houston? That survey was gone out, and people were supposed to respond to it, and then it would come back. Another thing that I think is very important is a lot of people don't come to the council meetings, so I have come up with this idea about involving the community by having community forums and invite citizens to come like 3 times a year. That way they can hear what projects that we're working on, where we are in the process of those projects, and what is the possible completion date of those projects. I think it's very important to involve them in knowing what we know. We find out a lot of information, but many of the citizens, they don't find it out until, much later. I mean, I see on Facebook all kind of comments that I don't answer to, but they're wondering what's going to be built over here, what's going over here, what's that going on next to the Kroger. But if we put that information out in a newsletter or have forums, then that way they can come and they can hear and they can know what's going on.
Thank you. Will you turn your mic off, please?
Sure.
Okay, last round. You're up, sir. Question 6. What are the top 3 issues and or opportunities impacting citizens of Houston that you believe the citizens want to see addressed? Will you turn your mic on, please? Thank you. You may start the timer.
So I believe that the 3 top issues is, one is traffic. Traffic is always a concern. I always hear about that. 2 is the rapid growth. And 3 is a network of paths, walking trails, and parks, all those together. And I think we need to focus on making sure that we take advantages of the things that are available to us. Now, if we're fortunate enough to get the T-SPLOS passed, there'll be some funds made available for projects within the city, and we need to make sure that we take advantage of them, which includes improvements to White Street, life/golf cart paths, those accessibility areas. The other thing is the rapid growth. And there is a lot of residential already on the books approved that we're waiting to happen, and we have to manage that. And I know everybody's concerned about the traffic that additional home brings to it. Sometimes I think there's a little bit of confusion that there is a lot of traffic on 53, but a lot of it's coming from Winder and Brazelton going in each direction. So while there's improved or growth in the city, it's not always the total burden on 53. It comes from other sources. So we got to make sure we take advantage of that. The walkways within the city limits, to make sure that we can bring pedestrian traffic, foot traffic to our places of commerce, whether it be what's going to be now Warren's Cafe or the coffee shop or Kroger's, and, Hensley's Automotive, making sure that our folks have access to those kind of things, and that above all, that we have a safe, fun place to gather and grow within the city. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Ben?
Okay, I got 6, I think.
Do you need me to reread the question? I can. It's okay.
You can, yeah.
What are the top 3 issues and/or opportunities impacting citizens of Houston that you believe the citizens want to see addressed? You may start the timer.
So I think, in my opinion, the top 3 are growth management, traffic and infrastructure, and local businesses and gathering places. So growth, as Ace just mentioned, we're definitely growing very quickly. And as we are growing, we need to make sure that the city keeps growth aligned with the values of our citizens. So I love the fact that the city council approved budget for a land planner next year. I think that will be so important to create a long-term goal, because we have a lot of things coming in. We've got new land. We've got some land that might be donated soon. So we have a lot more to work with than we did maybe 5 years from now. So for the smart growth, I think we're at such a pivotal moment where we really need to make sure we're planning correctly. And then in that, making sure that we have our growth plan has short-term achievable goals that we can make sure to follow. Regarding traffic and infrastructure, so as we're growing, growth without adequate roads, water, sewer, definitely will put a strain on our quality of life. So as we're growing, as we're adding new things, we really need to take into account what we have, our existing roads, their conditions, and at the same time kind of keep in mind as we're going to keep all of these things and plan proactively. And then as far as local businesses go and gathering places, this is a need that I've heard from so many citizens. Everyone's talking about when are we getting, commercial spaces. I think we've definitely done a lot on the residential side. I would love to see local businesses come in, grow through thoughtful commercial development, seeing more retail restaurants, and gathering places for family, so that way our growth can enhance our daily life. And at the end of the day, for me, it's to keep Houston a great place to live for everyone who is here. And we need to make sure that as we grow, our quality of life grows with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Brown? We glued yours on purpose.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah. Number 8, please.
Number 8. Many services to citizens, fire, police, sheriff, EMS, are impacted by decisions made by City Council. If elected, how will you ensure that input from all stakeholders is factored into the decision-making process? You may start the timer.
Thank you. I found this a very interesting question, because I was wondering if the question people knew that we were a weak mayor system, which simply means that we don't have impact. We can't hire, fire, or do things such as that to our police or anything else. So all we do, I shouldn't say all, what we do is we vote on governing, where the budget is, and so forth. The other part of that is of the things listed, the fire, police, sheriff, and EMS, the only one that really reports to the city itself is the police itself. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that, because what we do here is we have a city manager that will run the police and all the other departments, and they have department heads that report up to her. So we don't go into the police and we don't tell them, here's what we want you to do or anything. What we do is what we just did this past week. We look at the budget, we look at the resources, what they need, we sit down with the city manager, and we go over what the needs are for that particular department. In this case, the only one we govern on is the police department. She's already had a meeting with the police department on what they need, where they're at, and every other department in the line. They then get with our accounting department and put together a budget. And it's a zero-based budget, so they add up from the bottom and come in there and say, this is where we're at, this is what we want. They then come to us and present it to us, and we vote on what we actually are going to do with that budget. In the police example, we actually budgeted in 2 more cars. I think we budgeted in a drone as well, so we could go to a 24-hour work session. My time is up, and this is my last question, so I would like to tell you that I will be sticking around if you have any questions that aren't answered here. So please feel free to talk to me if you'd like.
Thank you. Mr. Lawson?
Number 5.
Number 5. I don't think we've seen this one yet. Financial stewardship is critical to growing city. What is your plan to keep the city's finances and its staff structure on solid footing? How will you manage long-term capital planning? What revenue streams do you see as essential to sustaining the city's growth over time? You may start the timer.
Very good. Thank you. As a small business owner, if you got more going out than you have coming in, that's not a good thing. Okay? Short and sweet to that. Because eventually some decisions have to be made. Whether you cut staff, whether you cut benefits, whether you cut anything that you got to cut. At one time, this city ran on 4 people. 4 people is all this city had. Was a mayor and a couple of people down at this sewer water treatment plant. Folks, now we have over, I think, 26 to 28 people. And it's going to take more as we grow. But as we grow, it's going to take more money. Simple as that. If you want things, you're going to have to pay for things. But as far as the growth of what we're looking at, as far as is what we need, therefore that goes back to our department heads, okay? If they need certain items and it's within their budget, within their department, that's not a problem, okay? When it becomes a problem is when it goes 2 or 3 times over what their budget. Then that becomes when we have to get involved and say, okay, why is this costing so much more to operate your department where last year it was only this amount? So therefore, that's where we step in as a council and say, okay, either trim it or we'll trim it for you, okay? Don't want to get to that point, but there again, we don't want to see our citizens burdened with a heavy tax base. So therefore, if we run lean as we need to, as every small business should or have in the past, then that helps our city tremendously. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Martin?
Mm-hmm.
Number 10.
Number 10. It is realistic to expect that a team comprised of mayor and council members will have differing perspectives on matters before them. Describe your personal style for bridging differences and reaching consensus on actions to be taken. You may start the timer.
First of all, I'd like to say that different perspectives are very important. If we all agreed on everything every time, you really wouldn't need us up here, to be honest with you. So I think it's really important to have different perspectives. So my perspective on an item is going to be a little bit different than maybe, and I'm going to use somebody up here as an example, Maria's. Maria's with a young family. My young family, you already heard about my family, so I won't go over that again. But my perspective is going to be a little bit different than hers. And that's great, as long as we're able to talk respectfully to each other. You may have noticed, if you've attended any city council meetings, that I am typically the last one to speak at council meetings, because I let all of the council speak first before I speak, because I don't want to influence them with what I think in the beginning. And I think that's really important, and a good leadership, by the way. Sorry, let me just check my note here that I want to make sure I mention. I believe listening to the team, my team, is probably one of my best strengths. Again, it's because I pay more time listening than I do talking. In fact, talking all this time makes me a little bit nervous, so I apologize if you think I'm nervous, because I am actually. Remember, we are a city of civility, and that means that we speak to each other with respect. And I demand that from myself, and I would hope that everybody else demands it of themselves as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McGowan? Number 4. Growth within the city has been significant. Citizens have expressed concern that the interests of developers sometimes seem to be more important than the interests of citizens. If elected, what actions will you take to ensure that citizens' voices will be heard and their opinions considered? Is your mic on? Thank you. You may start the timer.
I think developers have been heard over the citizens. That's my opinion. I think citizens are left in the dark on a lot of things. They have no clue what's going on. I think a developer that comes in with a big project, millions of dollars, they're going to donate this land, they're going to give us an amphitheater, and in the end, nothing happens. They don't give the amphitheater, they donate the land, but it'll cost millions to develop. We don't ask for enough concessions from them. So yes, the developers are heard over our citizens. And I think a lot of you, if you've been attending the meetings like I have for the past 8 years, have felt left out. You've felt left, in the dark. And it's never a good thing, because if you feel uncomfortable with not being heard, then you're going to lose trust in your council members that you've elected. And I have a hard time with elected officials, because it always seems like, whether it's a national, a state, or a local, you elect them and then they disappear. And so I know that's harsh, but it's true. We're never happy with the feedback we get. So I think what we should be doing is having dedicated times to talk to your council members, whether that's once a month, twice a month, but there should be dedicated times to talk to us. If I get elected, I would love to have that implemented. I know this is basically a part-time position, but it's a full-time job. And so hours are scarce, but you're paying the bill. All of you, your taxes, your millage rate will go up, and your taxes will be paying for everything that happens in this city. You should know what's going on. You should be informed. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Will you turn your mic off, please? Yes. Thank you. Mr. Sell? Number 5. Financial stewardship is critical to grow in a city. What is your plan to keep the city's finances and its staff structure on solid footing? How will you manage long-term capital planning? What revenue streams do you see as essential to sustaining the city's growth over time? You may start the timer.
Financial stewardship. To me, that means fiscal responsibility. It's taxpayer money. Let's manage it legally. Generally, what's right, what's wrong? Are we wasting your money? Has your money been wasted? Has it been wasted? It's hard to waste, it's easy to waste taxpayers' money. We all see it in governments all the time. And then we didn't have enough for this. And they come back and they want more. You got to be fiscally responsible when you're spending somebody else's money. I tell people, being self-employed business owners, I'm the one that signs the front of the paycheck. I expect you to do what you told me you're going to do for what you said you was going to do it for. And a city is nothing more than a big business, and you got to treat it that way. Finances, staff structure on solid footing. You've got a budget, you watch the budget. You don't waste the money. I think there's things in our budget that are way overinflated, and we've got room to cut some money out of this budget. Long-term capital planning. Well, yes, I'm all for. You need long-term plans. I was chairman of the airport authority for about 10 years. We did 1-year plans, 5-year plans, 20-year plans with the FAA. was really a good system once you got in the system. Revenue streams for essential sustaining city growth, commercial development. That brings extra sales taxes, lost, splost, if you know what those are, sales taxes. It helps the city. What property taxes a Home Depot would pay, Walmart would pay, versus your personal property house would be exponential. Commercial development would help the city a lot. I'm sure I'm out of time.
You just ran out. Thank you, sir. Dr. Sterling?
Okay. I think it's 6.
We'll go with 6.
Okay. All right.
What are the top 3 issues and or opportunities impacting citizens of Houston that you believe the citizens want to see addressed? You may start the timer.
Okay. All right. The top 3 issues and opportunities impacting citizens of Houston. Well, one is the roads. The roads are the number one thing, and the roads need to be repaired, and the council, we have it in the budget, to work on the roads. The other issue is, the water and sewer, and the last issue is the growth, all the growth that we have. So I believe the citizens want to see some improvement in the roads. They want the roads to be improved. And I believe in the next fiscal year coming up that that is going to be done. The next issue is the growth. Well, growth is going to come. I moved here in 2019, and what is here now was not here when I came. All the residential, but right now, residential, we're not doing any more residential. The residential is here, so we're waiting for the residential to be built out. And water and sewer, I feel like that the people on the council, we're all concerned about the water and sewer because it affects us just as much as it affects the citizens. And so we try to make decisions that are beneficial to the citizens.
Thank you, Dr. Sterling.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, at this time, we are finished with our city council candidates, and we're going to move to the 2 mayoral candidates. They're going to answer 2 questions, and they will have 2 minutes to respond to the questions. We'll start with Ms. Martin first. Strategy is critical to guiding an initiative and to achieving desired outcomes. Describe the 3 most important specific elements of your strategy to move Houston forward. Is your mic on?
It is now.
Perfect.
Yes.
You may start the timer.
Thank you. There's 3 top issues for me. You've heard them up here tonight. What I'm going to tell you is not going to surprise you. We have to manage, balance growth, and I'll go into detail in just a moment, and infrastructure and services, and also building a community and economic development. Those are the 3 top things in my book for our city and my strategy. Excuse me. Our growth is supposed to be enhancing our community. It is not meant to overwhelm our community. Again, and I've mentioned this before, and this is not shots fired at anybody, but I am dealing with my current council with what's already been approved. As you very well know, there's been so much approved, and we're just feeling the repercussions of that now and trying to deal with that, which includes the upgrade of our plant down the road. Also, the water is a big issue for people. You all know that we're in a contract with Barrow County now to purchase their water. There's been some discussion about that, but that's extremely important for the water security in this city. And to be honest with you, this is the city I care about. Jackson County has its own issues. I'm not a county employee or official. I'm a city official. I'm your official. So that's, oh my goodness, my time's up already?
You have
Okay.
30 seconds.
I'm sorry. And building an we need economic development in our city. I have been assigned that when I was a council member by the two previous mayors. I love it, and I'm very good at it, and we need that more and more in our city, which is, by the way, why I pushed very hard for a land planner, which has now been approved in our budget. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Will you turn your mic off, please? Mr. Sell, I'll read the same question, and then we'll start the time. Strategy is critical to guiding an initiative into achieving desired outcomes. Describe the 3 most important specific elements of your strategy to move Houston forward. You may start the timer.
I'm going to start with fiscal responsibility again. I think, especially as the mayor, the leader of your city, needs to be the most fiscally responsible. It's your money. It's not my money. It's not our money. It's your money. It's taxpayer money. Let's make sure that we're spending it wisely, that you're getting the most for what you're getting taxed for. We're about 3 mills in taxes today. I think on a $500,000 house, it's somewhere around $6,000 a year. I'm sorry, $600 a year. I get county and city mixed up. It's a lot of money. Are we spending it wisely? There's places that I think we could drastically cut your taxes in this city. And I'm happy to share that with everybody. Infrastructure improvement, out of the 3, that's a constant evolving situation in Houston. And we're meeting those goals. Water, sewer, it's all expensive. It's getting paid for. But it's continuous, and it's going to outlive all of us for Houston. It's every city's challenge to keep up with infrastructure. Traffic, 30 seconds. There's ways to help improve traffic, but we've got our challenges with this being 2 state highways coming into the city. Communication with state leaders would help a lot there. And my last part would just be, keep honesty, integrity, transparency within the city council and within the citizens of Houston. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to read the last question, and then once I'm finished reading, we'll start the timer. Ms. Martin, leadership and governance are important. As our city grows, effective leadership means managing not just ideas, but also people, council members, staff, and city manager. What do you see as the role of mayor versus the role of city manager under the current structure? How do you build and maintain a high-functioning team?
First, I'd like to point out my city manager sitting over there with a great big smile on her face. She's so happy that I get to answer this question. So the role of, of the mayor and the city manager are completely different. The mayor and council, they govern, and the city manager executes. So I'll break it down a little bit. Excuse me. The city manager's job is to handle the day-to-day operations and execute the vision of the mayor and council. We, the elected officials, focus on the what, and the city manager should focus on the how. So we are policy setters, and so high-functioning team, I think that was one of the key questions in here. It has everything to do with respect. I respect my city manager, and I stay in my lane, and she stays in her lane. And everybody needs to stay in their own lane regarding those different roles. As far as, and I do want to tell you, I am a hands-on mayor. I do have my hands in a lot of things, but I don't know everything about everything, and I don't need to. We pay very good money to an engineering team and other teams to be the experts. I don't need to be the expert. Excuse me. I do encourage training for myself and for the city manager, and also mentoring. I have a mentor, and I've had a mentor since the day I was sworn in as mayor, actually a little bit before. And the city manager and I've talked a couple of times about mentoring. So I think we have a good relationship, and I think there's a difference in roles. I try to, again, I'm going to end with this. I stay in my lane, she stays in her lane, and I encourage all of council to stay in their lane. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sell, I'll read the same question. Leadership and governance are important. As our city grows, effective leadership means managing not just ideas, but also people. Council members, staff, and city manager. What do you see as the role of mayor versus the city manager under the current structure? How do you build and maintain a high-functioning team? You may start the timer.
Thank you. Leadership and governance. I'm going to roll back the clock here a little bit. A few years ago, there's several people in this city that I hired. Go ask them what kind of leader I am, how I work with the team. Go ask them directly. You don't need to hear it from me. Go ask them. The role of the mayor versus the role of the city manager. I love this question. City manager runs the place. She's the CEO. He's the CEO, whoever it may be. They take care of the day-to-day stuff. This body sets policy. It's got no business in an employee's job description, so to speak, their day-to-day stuff. And that's what the charter says. Why do I know that? When I was mayor, we had a strong mayor system. The mayor was the god of the city, had all the power. Said, go cut this grass, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I said, Houston has outgrown that. 20 years ago, that was okay. There was not enough people here, wasn't enough stuff going on. It didn't matter, nothing important. But as we were growing, I'm like, we need continuity, first of all. So I'm the one that pushed for us to change to the weak mayor system, gave up the power. And I believe this was summer of 2021, and we transferred from a strong mayor to a weak mayor, city manager run government, and city council, mayor and council, policymakers. And I think that's been great for the city of Houston. And if you'll look at most any successful city of any size whatsoever, that's what you have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. As we wrap up tonight, the building will stay open until 8:30, so you feel free to meet with the candidates who would like to. No campaign promises will be made, but handshakes and smiles are free tonight. Thank you once again to the Houston Women's Civic Club, to our candidates, and to our audience. You made tonight meaningful, respectful, and dare I even say efficient. I told you I run a tight ship, and we are done 2 minutes early. Everybody drive safe tonight. Stay engaged. Local elections matter, and I hope to never see any of you while I'm at work. Thank you all. Have a great night.
What does she do? She said, I hope I don't see y'all at my work.
She works at a cardiac facility. So
Oh.
That's why.
Oh.
That would be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're all going to be there one day, but it's better later than never. Or it's better later than earlier. You can only vote for 3 of us.
Good to meet you. Come here, name. Arthur Skinner. Good to meet you.
Were you having a get-together at your place?
Sunday afternoon, 2 to 4. The farm, I live on East Jefferson Street, right across the street from the school.
Good job, Shannon.
Good to see you.
Did it well. Good job.
Same to you.